Microcampus is a program for students who are willing to spend 28 days in Xizhou away from their friends and families to learn about another place in China. Fortunately, I was one of the 12 students that were picked for the trip. During the process step in Shanghai, we all had to pick a topic that we wanted to research on. There is my page. I picked tools and technology, and further in Xizhou, I narrowed it down to the impact of electricity in Xizhou. In order to learn the impact of electricity in Xizhou, I researched about the lifestyle, economy, and communication. Electricity had a great impact to the lifestyle in Xizhou, and I went to the locals to learn more about their own perspective and how they lived. In the beginning, I needed teacher support to start the conversation with the locals, but as the days passed, I started to learn how to talk with others with comfort, and in the end, I got used to talking to strangers. All the locals agreed on one tool that was a major part in their life, which was the youzheng, or oil lamp. Then, as the electricity came in the late 1960s, they started to have light bulbs.
Xizhou was considered a wealthy place before 1949. It was even called Xiao Shanghai or Little Shanghai. However, after 1949, the liberal took place, and overall China was demanding equality, and this made the rich poor and the poor a bit more rich. This created an equal line, and this really affected Xizhou.
The children used to play the guessing game, where kids will hold a rock or any other written symbol or number, and if the opponent guesses it correctly, they win, and if they got it wrong, they lost. This might sound very simple, and it is a very simple game, but it was very entertaining then. If we go further back in time, people referenced entertainment as when a person sat in the center of Sufangjie and just talked, and people enjoyed this. Now the entertainment changed, and children as young as 3 are on their iPads and electronics, and they play video games or watch TV. When I heard Mr. Du talk about his childhood entertainment, the guessing game, I was shocked and thought how the definition of entertainment changed as new technology came in. Before, it was being more creative and actually creating the game, when now millions of programmers are involved in the major process, which is the creating process, and we just enjoy playing it. One interesting fact about the early electricity in Xizhou is that they did not have it every day. They would have it on a certain time, on a certain day, and it would move to another house. Next, I studied about the impact on economy. In this text, the word economy means the locals' job and in their jobs. Making canola oil is a very common job in Xizhou nowadays. Before they had electricity, they had to use their hands and stone to grind the oil out of the canola. This took a lot of effort and time to create a certain amount of oil. However, after the introduction to the new technology, the job rate extended because it took less effort and time was needed to create the same amount of oil. Now they simply have to insert or dump their canola into the entrance, and the machine will extract the oil from it. Also, another example is when creating cement for houses. Before, they had to use their hands to put the ingredients and mix it by their hands by stirring the stick. Well, some people still use this technology, but then in big places, big organizations in Xizhou, they use a machine called jiabaji. Came in where you just have to put the ingredients and the cement will just come out. You don't have to use any of your hands to stir. This made the life of builders way easier because it demanded less effort. One pattern that I identified was that all the new tools and technology made the life of the locals better. It made it easier, but then made them have more money. However, some of the jobs were not affected as much as other jobs. For example, the tradition artwork tie-dye was not really affected by electricity. According to Xiaobai, a tie-dye producer, 2 out of 10 factories use machines to create tie-dye, and the others make it by hand. I think this is occurring because now it is very rare to see young people sit and make tie-dye. A lot of times it is the elders that creates the tie-dye. Xiaobai was a very unique case because she was not as old as the others but created tie-dye. She told me that it was because as a kid, her whole family made tie-dye and it was a tradition. I think that a lot of times new technology is put in use when someone not as experienced comes in and starts working. But the environment in these days forces for the people not as experienced to create a very experienced product. After I was finished with economy, I started to learn about communication. Communication was my final topic before I came to Shizhou. So when others were doing background research about their broad topic, most of my background or all of my background research was in communication. So I had a pretty solid idea of about the history of communication. I did not choose communication right away when I came to Shizhou because when I had my first 3 to 5s with Mr. Taffel, he told me to keep my windows open for about a week in Shizhou and just explore the place, then narrow down my topic. After I had this talk, the perspective of my view changed. Before, I would only look for communication-wise tools and technologies, such as the bikes or the letters. But after the talk, I started to look at all kinds of tools and technology. I started to see 没有灯 or Javaji and more. However, I was still interested in communication and still did a little research on it and included it in my final product, which is the one you're watching right now. Before they had birds that would carry messages to other places to communicate. This was great because back then there were 2 choices to deliver messages. One, to run or walk by foot and give the message, or 2, send a bird. The cons of this method was that the bird was a living organism, which meant that it could die or get lost. This made the people a bit frustrated because if a bird did not deliver the message, then nobody could be notified. Then people got creative and wise to tame horses to ride, and they had jaws for people to deliver messages by horses. Then bicycles got introduced in China, and people started using bikes. Then something that needs to be fed, which is the horse. Then cars and other transportation came in, which made the then a gadget called telephone came in, where you could call and it would ring in the post office, and they would ask who you want to reach. You would say the name or the number, then the post officer would manually connect your line with the others. This took time and effort for both post officer and the customer to use. Also, these phones were for the wealthy class, and others would use public ones that is usually placed 1 or 2 in a town. After a while, mobile phones came, and this made the people to call directly to others by using telecommunication. This was way cheaper and way more efficient. Then now we have the internet where it takes 1 second to send a message across the globe. I find this whole evolution of communication just crazy and amazing. It went from months to reach the next town to 1 second to reach the other side of the world. From this experience, I learned a lot more about tools and technology. Also, I learned more about myself. I was quite timid talking to strangers in the beginning, but now I do not have any problem talking with them. I also had a lot of self-time, or still time, where I would just think about what I learned and connect it with my life right now. This made my life more meaningful and unique every day. I recommend this program to everyone, and Microcampus is a really great program that might give you some stress in the process, but that stress and work made me into a better person. Now, I have learned a lot about the impact of electricity in lifestyle, economy, and in communication by going out to the locals and learning about themselves. I thank everyone that helped, the teachers, the locals, and the Oreo group mates. Thank you.